Okay, you guys, hello, and how about a recap of what we did yesterday or today? So let's look at the homework. So first of all, we had to analyze from these graphs which one of these equations was the correct one. We went through and we were able to figure out because of the zeros, because of y-intercept and the negative value for A, we were able to go through and pretty much pinpoint what all these equations were. And then the same thing on the back, we were able to pretty much pinpoint what equations they were. And then finally, from this information, we were able to kind of pinpoint because of vertex form, factored form because we got the zeros, probably vertex form because we get a line of symmetry, general form, we'll talk about that one later, factored form and vertex form. But then today's lesson was, well, great. We know that we could make an equation in vertex form, but we didn't have to. So what is the equation if I have a vertex of 3, 7, and it passes through the point 1, 0 in vertex form? So that's what we talked about. So real quickly, we reviewed one more time our three forms. We've got our vertex form, our factored form, and our standard form. And all three of these can make our equation. So the question is, which one of these three should we use to make an equation? So I went back to that example. In our book, or in our homework, and we were left with number 7 was, okay, we got a vertex 3, 7, and a point 1, 10. We say vertex form, so let's actually make that equation. So I wrote down the vertex 3, 7, and the point 1, 10, and we all agreed, since it talks about the vertex, that we would use the vertex form. Okay, so I wrote down the vertex form. Y equals A, parentheses, x minus h quantity squared plus k. So to do this, I know my vertex, hk, 3 is my h, k is my 7. I just plug them both in for h and k. So I did that. I put my 3 there and my 7 there. All right? So from there, I have part of it, but I also need to find the value of a. So to find the value of a, I need more information. So fortunately, I have a point. It goes to the point 110. So that's an x value and a y value. Plug my 10 in for y. I plug my 7 in for, my 1 in for x. And then I went through and I solved for a. Negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. Minus 7 is 3. Divide by 4, and a is 3/4. Okay, so then I just rewrite my equation from here with the value of a, y equals a 3/4. That is a 3/4 x minus 3 quantity squared plus 7. And that's the answer we got. Then we took a look at this one, factored form. Okay, so we knew it was factored form, but we never came up with the equation. So how do we find the equation? Well, since they're roots, we know it's got to come from many equations. It had to be factored. So I wrote that equation down. Okay, so well, let's take a look. We have the 2 points, which are our roots, and I wrote down the factored form. This is the factored form from our notes. And I know that my negative 5, my 13 are my roots. So I put my negative 5 here and my 13 here for root 1, root 2. Oh, I simplified the double negative. And then I need more information because I need to find the value of a. So I need more information, so I go to my point. And my point has an x value of negative 7 and a y value of 40. Okay, so then I put my y value of 40 here and my x value of negative 7 into both places. Negative 7 goes here and here. And then I simplified. All right, well, negative 7 plus 5 is negative 2. Negative 7 minus 13 is negative 20. If I multiply these two, I get 40. If I'm solving for a, I divide by 40, and a is 1. Okay, so now I know a, and I can go straight down to putting it back into my factored form. I know a is 1, which gives me an answer of 1 times x plus 5, x minus 13. Now, we'll talk about the other form, this general form, later, because I want to take my time on learning this. So then, the homework, since we know all of these are the same form, right? Just different ways of writing it. In the homework, we took a look at this. So we knew that if you had an equation in one form. It could have another form with the exact same value. Again, it can have another value. Okay, so these three equations are the same graph. These three equations are the same graph. So our homework was to take a question, say in factored form, put it into general form by foiling, and then put it into vertex form by knowing what the vertex is. Same thing on 15. We have it in general form. We put it into factored form. After we put it in factored form, we put it into vertex form. So 16 and 17 are up to you.